Welcome to Three Skulls Tavern, a channel devoted to tabletop role-playing games by Free League Publishing. This show is sponsored by WorldMill, online server hosting for the Foundry Virtual Tabletop. To support the show, head over to patreon.com/MattK. For a minimum of $2 per month, you get access to a ton of extra content. Okay, we're picking it up from last week, where Udo, myself, and Yubi trying to push north to follow this legend that we've got, to look for a treasure of some kind. In fact, we can scroll down and see this legend, but there's basically a bandit chieftain, or robber chieftain, who has a horde, apparently, up north near some marshland. Now, don't exactly know where that is. I do know which way is north, so that's why Yubi and I are heading in that direction. If I put my meta cap on, I actually do know this map very well because I've run Forbidden Lands several times. I know exactly where there is some marshlands off to the north. So that's gonna, I'm gonna try and keep myself in character and figure this out from my character's perspective. Just some very quick housekeeping before we go on, because there's a slight change of how things look this time compared to the previous episodes. I've got a bunch of macros now that should be working to run some very cool things if we need them. So a lot of the macros for oracles and random encounters and things are a little bit slicker now, hopefully. We'll see how they work as we get in. So we've just been pushed back from trying to head north by an orc blocking our way, a berserker orc who was insulting me to fight him. And he got under my skin, and I tried to fight him for a little bit before I realized, what the hell am I doing, and retreated. Yubi firing her bow like a champ to help, cover my retreat. And that's where we've left it. The one thing I didn't do was I didn't roll for arrows for Yubi after she tried previously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly do that. We're going to open up here Yubi's character sheet. We're going to go to her gear tab, and down here we have arrows, a D12 for arrows. We're going to click that, and we roll a 2. Now, I think I'm going to have to actually check this, because it doesn't say anything in the chat log. It just says a 2. I believe that on a 1 or a 2 it reduces, but I might be mixing this up with a different game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually very quickly check. Yeah. So a 1 or a 2. If the die shows a 1 or a 2, you must decrease the resource die 1 step. So that's what's happened. Arrows go down to a D10. So in firing at this orc to try and cover our retreat, Yubi actually used up a die's step worth of arrows. That's very important to kind of keep in mind, because to do these things, because we're not tracking individual numbers here. We're using a consumable die for arrows and food and water. So anyway, that's what's happened. So we've managed to kind of trace our steps back slightly. We've run away from this orc who didn't really come and follow us all the way. We are faster than him, of course, being a halfling and a goblin. And as we get away, Yubi and I stop, and we're panting, catching our breath. Yubi, I say, what are we going to do? He's blocking our path. We can kind of skirt around him, kind of off to the east, or skirt around him to the west, but off to the west the forest is a bit thicker. It might be a bit more dangerous. But off to the east feels like we're going in the wrong direction. That's going back a little bit towards our homelands. What do you think? And of course, I think Yubi's a mute, although we figured out last session that she has a 1 in manipulation, which is kind of interesting. So maybe she isn't going to be a mute, but for the moment, she is, for all intents and purposes. And she just kind of looks at me and shrugs. Right. Well, let's stop and have a bite to eat. That always clears my head. Before we get started again. So we don't really make camp. We just kind of sit down, take our packs off, and we're going to eat. And for that, we're going to do some rolling. I'm going to do myself first. I'm going to have my food and my water for the day, because these have to be done every day. Roll my food first. That's a 3. That's fine. My water is A 6, that's also fine. Yubi then gets to roll. Food. And water. Water goes down. Okay. Water goes down. She rolled the 1 on that. So, we stop and we're drinking, and maybe there's a sound or something. Oh, there's these mosquitoes, right? These mosquitoes have been bothering us since this morning. And since we actually entered this hex. So we've retreated back into the hex where there is just lots of these mosquitoes, and maybe like Yubi's smacking at them on her neck or something, and as she does, she loses her grip on her canteen or something, and some of the, like, a significant amount of water falls out of her, not her canteen, her water skin. She picks it up, doesn't say anything, but she picks it up very quickly, you know, corks it or whatever you use in Fantasyland, puts it back on her pack. So she's had a lot of luck with her consumable rolls this session to start off, but that's fine. After thinking about it for a bit, I think I want to avoid. No, I think I want to go the most direct route. So we're gonna head off to the northwest, which is off to the left here, and we're gonna head off into this hex here, where we've not been before. This is Dark Forest now, so this is where we do a certain step-by-step thing again. The first thing we do is we roll to see if I found my way through into the next hex. So to enter into this new hex, I'm leading the way, and that means I have to make a survival roll. My survival roll is going to be just to see if I can make it into this next hex without encountering a mishap of some kind. So, go to my main. I'm just going to quickly check my gear again, but I don't think I have anything that's going to help me here. I definitely don't have anything that's going to help me here. I also don't have any talents that have to do with pathfinding. Pathfinder is one of them that would help here. So, survival. I've got a 4 in wits, and I've got a 1 in survival. So I click that. No modifiers, and I just roll. I need a success here. Got a success, so that's fine. We make our way deeper into the forest. This hex where we're at right now. And as we enter the forest, the first thing to do is to try and see if there's anything in this hex with us. So I'm going to ask the Oracle, do we encounter anything in this hex? And for this, we're going to do the dice roller, 6 dice, base dice again, and again, the number of, so I'm going to scroll over here, the number of successes or banes or swords or skulls are going to determine the answer to this. 1, 6. So yes, there is a random encounter in this hex, but we're not kind of ready for it. So we're gonna have to do a keep watch roll here. I'm gonna have a -2 to it. Now the keep watch roll, we're kind of doing it where I'm leading the way and Yubi is doing the keep watch. So we're gonna have Yubi roll her scouting with a -2. So that basically is gonna just cancel out. We click on it anyway. We're gonna go to the -2 modifier. And I'm just going to check her talents because the Path of the Forest... okay. Willpower point. So she could lead the way and spend a willpower point even if we fail to lead the way. So it might make more sense if I get some points in scouting for her to do that and for me to do the scouting rolls here. But that's fine. So she gets to roll scouting. -2 modifier. Make the roll. Hey, she got a 6. So there is a random encounter here. She had a -2 to spot it, but she did spot it in time. So we're going to see this random encounter before we actually see it. So now we're going to roll for a random encounter. And for that, I've got this one here. Forbidden Lands Random Encounters. It's in the Dark Forest. And we click. And let's see what we got. The Ruins of Old. Let's pop that open, shall we? You see before you the broken remains of what was once a building, a civilized outpost in the wilds. Now nature has reclaimed the place, and everything that remains are but fallen remnants and memories lost in the mist of history. So he found a ruin that is suitable as a safe place to make camp. In order to decide the type of ruin and who once lived here, you should roll D66 on the table below. Alright, I've got a D66 roller. Let's do that. Okay. A 45. 45 is a farm. A rich merchant, long since dead. It's like I might be kicked out of Foundry in a second. Hopefully not. Okay, so we've got a farm from a rich merchant, long since dead. Okay. A good place to stay the night, it said though. So I'm gonna put a pin in here actually. Ruins of old. We're gonna drag this over here like that, and I'm gonna put the size is 32, I believe here, and the font size is 20. Hit OK, and we're gonna just move it down a little bit like that. There we go. The ruins of old. And I've got the 45 here to show me the rest of it. Yeah. Okay. So the first thing that we need to also mechanically do to kind of progress things along is we're going to progress the clock a little bit. So if we, we started off at noon, we're going to say we kind of rested. In fact, I'm going to kind of try and do this a little bit more granularly rather than using the shifts. I'm going to say it was noon before we tried to set off into this one with the Great Insulter. I'm going to say traveling through, finding him, and then retreating again, fighting him and retreating him again took about an hour. Then we stopped for a bite to eat. That took us another hour. And now we're traveling through this hex. Now, traveling through an entire hex takes about 6 hours. So we're going to say, we're going to progress this right to, I think we're just going to progress it. You know what? I'm saying this, but I'm going to try and keep it as simple as I can. We're going to just progress this right through the daytime. So we're getting to basically, getting to dusk. The sun is starting to set, which takes us to 6 o'clock, not 7 o'clock. I think. Yeah, 6 a.m., noon, 6 p.m., midnight. All right. And we're going to make camp. I think I'm going to make camp while Yubi tries to sleep on the floor. In fact, let's have a quick look. Yeah, this is going to be interesting because it's a survival roll to make camp. I'm better at that. I've got 4 and 1. Yubi does need to get some sleep, though, to recover her points that she's lost. Because she's... in fact, we both lost 1 agility and 1 empathy, so it doesn't really matter too much. Okay, so I'm going to make a camp. She's going to try and sleep on the ground. So Yubi needs to roll to see how well she does with her survival. She got it. So she sleeps. She sleeps for this quarter day. She kind of just collapses. She's going to get her empathy and her agility back. She's going to be keeping watch after I make camp. So I'm going to make my camp now. I'm also doing a survival roll. So we have a mishap. Brilliant. Roll on tables. Journeys and mishaps. Make camp mishap. Let's roll that. Lice. A randomly selected adventurer has caught lice. It itches horribly, and she gets a rash all over the body. The victim suffers 1 point of damage to agility each day and cannot sleep. A successful healing roll stops the effect. Okay, nice. So, we're going to roll die. We're going to roll 1 base dice here. Base die. If it is odd, I'm the one who's suffering from the kind of the effects of lice, and if it's even, it's going to be Yubi. Yubi is suffering from lice, so she suffers 1 point of damage to agility each day and cannot sleep. Well, it's fine that she slept first anyway, so she's going to be sitting near the camp somehow and catches lice. I don't. Well, that's fine. I'm going to close this. Okay, so I finished making camp. Let me, hold on a second. Journeying, make camp. The camp is less pleasant. You still set up a camp where you can rest and sleep, but there's a mishap that happens as well. Okay. So, with my failed roll, that means a mishap happens, but I still am able to make a camp, and we're going to be able to sleep. I'm at least going to be able to sleep for the night. So, that happens. I will be able to... In fact, I don't need to go here. I can use my GM screen, and I can reduce my agility and empathy damage. Take them away. Unfortunately, Yubi is going to be gaining agility damage, as we said before, because she's got lice. And I'm actually going to give her the condition sleepy as well, as we said. But we're not going to make her cold. Let's just look at the temperature here. 21 degrees. That's a bit warm for a fall evening. But basically, we also stopped the entire night. So it's now midnight when I was making camp and she was sleeping. Okay, she's not going to be keeping watch through the wee hours of the night while I'm sleeping through. So the question to ask here is, we're going to move it to about here. We're going to ask the Oracle. Is Yubi's keeping watch? Does anything happen while she's keeping watch? Does something approach the camp? So they cancel out. The 6 and the 1 cancel each other out, and that means there's a complication. Oh god. I think if it would have said yes, I would probably would have asked the Oracle some more questions, but we've got a complication here. So what kind of complication? The question I've asked the Oracle is anything approaching the camp, and I had a complication. So I think rather than roll for some sort of like creature or something like that, I think I'm going to roll on the random encounter table again to see if there is something that comes up that makes sense. So we're going to roll here. No, we're going to go, apologies, we're going to go here. Random encounter, dark forest. No, in fact, I've got an even better idea. I have a table here called, under oracles, called generic encounter. I'm going to try rolling this one. Dead deer. Interesting. There's a dead deer. Doesn't make much sense. So we're gonna do one more. Single wolf. Okay. A dead deer and a single wolf. How about a deer comes bounding toward the farmhouse where we are holed up for the night. And this farmhouse has been abandoned, but Yubi's keeping watch with her bow. She's also kind of itching. The lice are starting to get to her. And through the night comes bounding this deer as a wolf snarls and takes it down right in front of her. And Yubi's standing there shocked for a second. That doesn't sound like a complication. That just sounds like a yes result from the Oracle that yes, something happens. So how am I going to complicate this even more? Maybe the wolf startles Yubi so much that she kind of leaps out of the way and in the process loses all of her arrows. They all fall to the ground. Maybe she can pick them up, but maybe she's only going to be able to gather a small number when we get to it next time. And she realizes, the wolf looks up at her as the wolf is kind of like, killing the deer. She kind of lets out this yelp. Does she let out a yelp? Yeah, she lets out like a sort of a barking yelp as she leaps back, losing her arrows, and then she scrambles to get into the farmhouse. But the farmhouse door, we can say, because this is an old ruin, right? It doesn't have a door. It had rotten long ago. And therefore she's just entering into the house. She runs over to me and kicks me in the ribs as she jumps to the other side of the fire that I'd created. So I'm going to wake up, and we're going to say, because this happens while I'm trying to sleep, I'm going to actually give myself my damage back. Because I'm not having a restful sleep at the moment, am I? Yeah. So I jump to my feet. What is it? I say. Wow, what was that for? She points to the door because Yubi's still not talking, and then she gestures at my axe on my hip, and that's when the wolf hops into the doorway, snarling. Oh no, I say, pulling out my axe, and we're gonna do some initiative. So we're gonna hop over to the battle map where I've got the two of us. I'm going to quickly add a wolf because I think we've got... whoops, we got animals in here. We do. So I'm going to drop a wolf in there. Try again. There it is. A single wolf. Ah, this should be fine, right? We're going to right click. We're going to add it to the encounter. We're going to add myself to the encounter, and we're going to add Yubi to the encounter. But draw initiative. This is for me first. I'm drawing 2. 8 and 10. So I'm going to take an 8. Then we're going to draw initiative for Yubi. She gets a 5. And the wolf gets a 9. It's automatically populated. Now I got an 8. I don't know why it's repopulating. But there we go. We both go before the wolf. We're going to swap initiatives, Yubi and I, so we're going to just do like that. Because I'm the one that's armed at the moment. And I think I am going to... I think I see an advantage here with getting on the other side of the fire, like keeping the fire between myself and the wolf. So I'm just we're gonna kind of back off right here. I'm gonna quickly scribble something in Foundry. We're gonna do basically a green. I don't know how to change the color here, so we'll look at that for later. There's a fire, right? I've moved to the other side. Yubi's behind me like that. The wolf is in the doorway, we'll say about like there. Okay, that's me. That's me done. So start. How do we start this? Begin combat. All right. So I've gone. Yubi's gonna just basically take another step back, and she's going to draw. Let's see what she's got actually in her gear. She's got a throwing knife, so she's gonna take a throwing knife out. In fact, she's not going to... She's just going to basically not move. She's going to stow her bow and get a throwing knife ready. We'll leave it there. And then we're going to have the wolf. The wolf comes running around here. And like to the side... We're going to make it come to this, like the side of the fire right next to me. Oh, here, maybe. And it's going to attack me. Simple as that. And we go to gear. We go to combat. We go with bite. 7 dice. 2 6s. Great. Damage of 1. So it's going to do 2 damage to me. Do I have any... Now I can actually try and dodge this. I am going to try and dodge this because I didn't use all of my actions. I'm going to try and dodge it to stay on my feet. So I click on myself again. I roll move, which is to dodge, and I take a -2 to this. It's going to give me some negative dice. I'm not pushing that. I fail. So I take 2 strength damage as the wolf bites me. Ah! Yubi, help! Go to the top of the next round. And I'm shouting to Yubi to help. So we're going to swap initiative again, because we can do that anytime that we can communicate with each other. And Yubi is going to aim. She's going to take one turn or one fast action to aim with her throwing dagger, and then she's going to throw it at the wolf. So we click here on her marksmanship, but first she's got a talent called sharpshooter. We're going to quickly check that one again. And basically our attack rolls are modified by +1 when you shoot a bow or crossbow, which she's not actually. It's about being an archer. She's not using that. She's using a throwing knife, so it's not going to come into play here. That's fine. So we're going to click throwing knife. She's aiming, so she gets a +1 modifier. I'm going to say that the wolf is close enough that there's no negative modifier to her range to hit it. It's not quite at. It is kind of at arm's reach, but I think for a knife this is going to be fine. So I'm just gonna basically roll like this. Let's see how well she does. A single 6, and there's no 1 showing, so I think she's going to push that roll. So we come up here to push. She's going to take 1. It doesn't get any better. Hold on. 2 successes, it looks like we got for the push roll. Okay, so we had 2 successes with 1 skull. That means she gets 1 willpower point, takes one more damage to her agility, but she's inflicted 2 damage to the wolf. So we're going to open the wolf up again very quickly, and we're going to take its strength down to 2. Now it's my turn. I'm going to attack the wolf with my melee, even though I only got 2, because I'm pretty good when it comes to fighting. I'm going to say, ah, that hurts! Swing my axe. I don't get any modifiers, but as you can see, I've got 6 dice to roll. Oh, hold on. Talent-wise, how's hard to catch work? I could have spent a willpower point to avoid being hit by physical attacks. I might use that in a second because I have 1 willpower point. But we'll say we haven't used it yet. So hand axe, just roll. No modifiers. I'm going to push that. Oh, man. Crap. Take 1 more strength damage. I'm down to 1 strength. Yubi! I shout as the wolf attacks me. The wolf can sense that I'm bad, and it's incensed by it's been hit in the side by a throwing knife, and now it's trying to finish me off. I get 7 base dice. I think it's because it's strength plus melee, but this isn't a monster, so it should actually be having 2 plus 3 here. So we're gonna roll 5 because I don't want me to be too dead. Too quickly. Okay, the wolf doesn't manage to attack me because it's probably been injured a little bit. And depending on how this goes, I think the wolf might actually run away because it's been injured as well. Yubi's going to throw her second throwing knife at the wolf, and again she's going to aim. Again she's going to do her best. So we're going to use her other throwing knife. So here we go. She's going to get a +1 for aiming. She gets 1/6. I don't want her to. I mean, she's throwing the knife anyway, so it's kind of embedding itself into the wolf. That lowers the wolf down to 1. 1 strength. It's going to be running in a second, and it's going to take her 2 throwing knives with it because they've kind of embedded themselves in it. But not before I get to go. So I'm going to go. All right. And just because I can see the wolf has been hit by this other arrow, even though I'm injured and I kind of want to run as well, I can see this is the opportunity here. I swing my axe at it to try and finish it off. I don't have a lot of dice to roll, but I'm going to try best I can. And I got a 6. I do 2 damage on a success. In fact, let me just scroll up a little bit with my previous hand axe. I didn't do any damage before because I would have done 2. 2 damage is enough to kill the wolf. So with my last kind of strength, I swing my axe down, and it buries itself into the wolf, and the wolf collapses dead to the ground. Blood pooling around where we'd set up our camp next to the fire. We quickly kind of pull our stuff away to make sure it doesn't get covered in blood, and move the wolf carcass, drag the wolf carcass out away from the outside, out of the out of the house. By this time, it is definitely well into the wee hours of the night, and I think by the time we've finished kind of sorting out the camp, looking at the deer, bringing kind of like just getting it all together, we're gonna say, yeah, that it's the end of the night phase, and we're getting into dawn. So, what are we gonna do in this phase? I think I'm gonna try and sleep again because we've already made the camp. I'm very tired. I'm quite injured. I think we're gonna both of us try and sleep one at a time. We're gonna take this day to recuperate. And I think while that's happening, we're also going to skin the wolf, skin the deer, and basically try and get some food and some furs out of this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look up in the book how much meat and fur I get from both of these animals, because they both provide something. So I'm going to go here to the Game Master's Guide. I'm going to go to the Encounters. Nope, it's not this section. It's the Journey section in the Player's Guide, under Reference, and under Hunt. And here we've got, under Hunt, we have the various different animals and how much meat and pelts they give us. A wolf actually doesn't give us anything. It's not on here. I think, though, we can probably say we get 1 pelt from the wolf. So I'm going to go ahead and say we've got 1 pelt from the wolf. And the deer is going to give us 5 meat and 3 pelts. So we've got 4 pelts in total. Interesting. And 5 units of meat. I think with the 5 units of meat, we don't really need to eat the meat of the wolf. I think the deer is going to taste a lot better anyway. And so that's what we're going to do, I think. So for breakfast, we're going to prepare the food, cook the food, and that food is going to need to be eaten today. If it's not eaten today, it's going to spoil. So that's what we're going to do. I think I'm going to rest first because I'm on 1 strength. I'm kind of teetering here on death's door. While Yubi is basically carving up the wolf, carving up everything else. I don't have the chef talent. Now, if I had the chef talent, that means I could convert the meat into rations, but I can still cook the meat and we can still eat the meat. It's just that it uses it up straight away. You can't convert it into rations or into a consumable die, basically. And I think we're probably going to end this session there. Maybe before I end the session, we'll just quickly rattle through the sleeping and find out, like, after we've both recovered, basically getting ready to start the next day, or waiting to see if we're going to travel through the night or not. Because we have perhaps a little base here that we can kind of stay in some comfort. So the first thing we're going to do in the first section is Yubi's going to prepare the meat. She's going to cook the deer so we have some food to eat. We're both going to eat that eventually today, so we're not going to have to dip into our rations. But I'm going to sleep. So I sleep. I don't have to roll anything for that, but the camp has already been made. And we pass through the first... I'm not even going to ask the Oracle if another encounter happens, because I think for the purposes of making sure that... I don't die too early in this campaign, I'm just going to say that one encounter per day is probably going to happen at night like that. Although we are in the deep, dark forest, but we'll give ourselves a little bit of a breather here, shall we? So I'm going to open up my character sheet here in the GM screen. I'm going to recover all of my attribute points, and I'm not going to be sleepy. Then it's Yubi's turn, but first she needs to be cured of her lice. I'm going to try and roll healing on her. I just need a success on healing to try and, see if I have some... I don't actually have any points in healing, but I can still roll it. This is just, perhaps I have some, homeopathic cure that I know of for lice that we can maybe grab nearby. Hey, I got a 6. I've healed her. That was pretty good. So I managed to find some sort of salve that we can make out of some plant, and I'm going to say it takes us the day to go and forage for that, to find it, and to heal Yubi of her lice problem. So by the time the daytime thing is done, we'll say that I was foraging for that. At the same time, she can go forage for some water. So we're going to have Yubi roll survival. She's not healed yet. She did sleep earlier, which is why she has no empathy damage. But she gets to roll survival here to see if she finds any water. We've got a 6, so that's good. She finds water, and we're able to, both of us, we can drink our fill for today. We've eaten our food for today. We don't get to increase our food die because neither of us has the chef talent. But we both take enough water that we're up to D12, which is good, and we drink. So we've drunk and eaten for the day. And we've got D12 water, which is good. And I managed to heal Yubi, and Yubi's gonna have a little snooze now. It's dusk. It's taken the whole day basically to rest, heal her up, and recover. She's gonna sleep the first watch of the night here, and then we're gonna decide what we're gonna do when she wakes up. So I'm again not gonna roll for an encounter. Oh, in fact, we'll say that with that having happened, there's also the smell of meat in the air. We are gonna ask now. Let's. To give us both a chance here, at the end of the sleep, I'm going to ask the Oracle, at the end of Yubi's sleep, after she's rested, does anything come to our camp? And I'm going to roll the dice, and we're going to leave it there. Hopefully it's going to be in our favor here. Oh, not drawing a card. We're going to roll some dice. Does anything come to our camp? 2 6s. Yes. And we'll figure out what that is in our next session. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, if you can subscribe and like this video, that really helps the channel to grow. And leave a comment if you like what you've seen. If you want to reach out on social media, all the links are in the description. Thanks very much, and see you next week.